Somewhere I Belong, Chapter 12, House Shopping, Part 1. What the fuck were you thinking, Twilight? Rainbow yelled as some paramedics arrived to put the griffin on a stretcher. You all saw him, she exclaimed. So you shot him with your magic after he saved our flanks? Rainbow yelled. I panicked. I didn't know what he was going to do. You shouldn't have done that, Twi, the orange mare said with a sigh. I know, and I feel terrible. Hopefully Spike was able to keep him at the library so I can apologize, she said as the mares entered the library to see the purple dragon asleep on the couch. Spike! Twilight yelled. What? Ow! He yelled as he grabbed his head in pain. Rarity rushed over to him and put her hand on his head. Oh, my Spiky Wikey, are you okay? She asked as the dragon sat up. Yeah, I think so. What happened? Twilight asked. I remember seeing Isaac. He looked pretty roughed up. Then I got your letter, and then nothing. Twilight looked around the room and found a note. I understand that I freaked you all out. I'm sorry, I honestly have no idea what happened. You won't have to worry about it happening again. Spike, sorry for knocking you out with a book. Consider it payback for doing it to me when I got here. P.S. Send the griffin my regards, and tell her I'm sorry. I didn't want to do that, but she gave me little choice. Twilight put the letter down and looked at her friends. Rainbow and Applejack had daggers in their eyes. Nice one, Twi. Real nice, Rainbow said in a stern tone. The mare got to her feet and walked towards the door. Where are you going? Rarity asked. To go find him. Duh. It's crazy out there, and who knows what could happen to him, she said in a stern tone. Coming, AJ? Right behind you, the farmer said as she walked up to the cyan mare. I'm going too, Fluttershy said in a timid tone. Wait for me, Pinky chimed in. Wait, Twilight bellowed. No, he's our friend. He defended us. I'm not leaving him out there. I'm the element of loyalty for a reason, Rainbow yelled. I was going to say that we wait until the storm calms down. Isaac is smart. He's probably gone to find shelter. Maybe he even went to Sakura, she said as she let out a sigh. All I'm saying is that we give him some breathing room before we go looking for him. Plus, I also need to figure out my apology, she said in a low tone. Wow, first you shoot him, now you're complimenting him. Way to flip-flop, Twilight, Dash exclaimed. I overreacted, she yelled. Now you know how we felt when you charmed the Smarty Pants doll, Rainbow said in a stern tone. That was totally different. I wasn't trying to kill some pony. Neither was he. He let Gilda go. I'm pretty sure if he wanted to kill her, then he would have, AJ interjected. Isaac was only trying to defend us. Twilight looked at her friends in disbelief. We'll all meet back here in the morning. Then we'll go look for Isaac. Agreed, she asked as she glanced at the mares who gave a nod. Twilight let out a sigh and complied. The mares got to their feet and went their separate ways. Isaac ran faster than he had in his entire life. Through the pouring rain and dark forest, he felt the wind whip at his face and felt the rain sting his skin like needles. He stopped when he came to an odd ruin, an old decrepit castle long abandoned. A lightning strike from the storm struck a nearby tree, setting it ablaze with fire. The man picked up a flaming piece of timber and made his way inside the old building. The interior was pitch black, but dry. Isaac removed his hoodie and set the burning piece of wood in front of him, and left to collect a few more pieces from outside the castle. Isaac put the pieces next to the blazing branch to dry out. He did the same with his now soaking wet hoodie. He sat down with his back against the stone wall. He looked into a puddle next to him and saw his blood-covered reflection. The human quickly splashed the water in his face, washing away the crimson fluid. Isaac looked down at his shaking hands and tried to stop his panting. What the fuck happened back there? We went all Jedi on that griffin's ass. I almost killed her. So it was self-bullshit. I know what I was doing, and I couldn't stop myself. No thanks to you. Oh, so you're going to pin this on me? Who got involved in their lives while I wanted to leave them alone? ... That's what I thought. I'm sick and tired of your bullshit. I know, I'm just tired of all this. Now I have powers? If I sprout wings, I'm going to jump off the nearest cliff and pray that they don't flap on instinct. What will you do? No idea. He thought as he rested his head on the partially dry jacket and drifted off to sleep. Twilight found herself before the man she had shot that day, with her magic. The man looked back at her with an icy glare. Twilight gulped and walked in front of the human with tears in her eyes. Isaac, The human raised his hand. Save it for someone who cares. I care. I'm sorry. You just really freaked me out, and I didn't know what to do, she said as the tears started to flow. Isaac turned his back to the mare and started to walk away. Twilight rushed forward and wrapped her arms around him. The human stopped moving as he felt the mare's tears seep through his clothing. "Please, don't go. We want you to stay. I want you to stay," she said as she let go. Isaac looked at her in surprise. "Sorry, Twi. It's too late." The human wrapped his hands around Twilight's throat and started to squeeze. Twilight was struggling to find air as she felt the man lift her off the ground. The man let out a cry of pain as his arm was cut in half by an unknown force. Twilight fell to the ground and looked up to see the image of Princess Luna. "Princess Luna, what are you doing here?" "As Princess of the Night, it is my duty to ensure the citizens of Equestria sleep peacefully." "I am dreaming?" she asked as the image of the man vanished. "Yes, your mind is creating this nightmare. Tell us, why are you so afraid of the human?" the princess asked as she looked at the mare. Twilight told Luna what had happened that afternoon between Isaac and Gilda. "I see, so you acted out of fear?" "Yes, and I feel terrible about it," she said as she hung her head low. "I have visited Isaac and his dreams. While I was there, I saw a much darker side of his personality. I'm assuming that being in that injured state triggered it," the mare said as she scratched her chin. "I didn't know humans could use magic," Twilight said as she let out a sigh. "They can't. I'm assuming that when my blood mixed with his, a bit of my magic was transferred to his body." "Why didn't he use it before then? You said you shot him with a bolt of magic, correct?" "Twice. The first shot was by accident and the second was intentional," she said in a low tone. "I see. That first bolt must have acted like a key that unlocked the magic within him. It's unstable, and he was acting on instinct, which caused the personality flip," she said as she let out a sigh. "Now I assume that he's even more confused that you attacked him." "It was an accident. I overreacted," she stammered. "I was scared, okay?" she said as she sat down and buried her face in her knees. The Lunar Princess walked over to her and put a hand on her shoulder. "I understand, Twilight. The real question is, why are you scared?" The Lavender Mare looked up at the princess with tears in her eyes. "What?" "I know for a fact that Isaac would never do anything to hurt you or your friends, so what are you really afraid of?" she said as the image of her collapsed. Twilight let out a sigh, wiping the tears away, and got to her feet. The dream started to collapse and fade. Twilight woke up in a cold sweat to the sound of pounding at her door. She threw on a purple blouse and a brown skirt. The mare walked downstairs and saw that the others had already gathered in front of the door. "About time. We've been banging on the door for like 5 minutes, Rainbow said as she rolled her eyes. Twilight noticed that Applejack had brought her dog with her. "Why do you have Winona?" Twilight asked. "If she can track Pinky during a sugar rush, I'm fairly certain she can track Isaac." Twilight nodded and levitated one of the human shirts over to the hound. The brown dog gave a sniff and took off, with the mares following close behind. The group stopped as they reached the Everfree Forest. The dog sniffed around the area and let out a small whimper. "Dang it, the scent's gone cold." "Now how are we going to find him?" Pinky asked. The ponies saw a shadow beginning to widen. The mares looked up in surprise as they saw Discord descend in front of them. "Hello, ladies," he said with a smug grin. "We're not in the mood, Discord. Scram!" Rainbow yelled. Hey, easy. I'm here to help you find the human," he said as he teleported next to the dog. "Why do you care?" Applejack asked. "It's rare to meet another being that's as chaotic and unpredictable as me," he said with a grin. "I also happen to know where he is." "What?" the group yelled. "Yes, I saw him napping in the old castle in the forest," he said with a shrug. "I suggest we hurry. Who knows what could be creeping up on him," he said in a flat tone. "How can we trust you?" Twilight asked as she glared at the chaotic lord. "Are we going to stand here talking all day, or are we going to go find him?" he said as he flew into the forest, with the group of mares close behind. Isaac awoke to the sound of birds chirping and bugs buzzing. He got to his feet and cracked his back as he let out a yawn. He looked down at the small pit of coals and noticed that a few were still glowing. He picked one of the burning coals up and placed it in the center of his right palm. Isaac gritted his teeth as he felt the burning piece of wood scorch his skin. The human dropped the coal back into the bed of ashes and looked at his palm, which now had a small burn mark in the center of it. Isaac's eyes shrank as he saw the small wound begin to heal itself at a fast rate. After the wound was closed and new skin had replaced the old, he felt the spot where the coal had been. Not even a scar. "Am I even human anymore?" he thought to himself as he laid back against the stone wall. "Isaac!" The human perked up as he heard the familiar voices of the mares from Ponyville approach the ruins. "Are you here?" Isaac heard the Lavender Unicorn's voice yell. He let out a sigh and sat still. Twilight and the others made their way into the old castle.